So welcome everyone just joining today's live show. Lots to cover. In today's show, we're going to be discussing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as Sam Bankman-Fried jailed as the judge revokes his bail. We'll also be discussing, you've got to be kidding me, Cameron Winklevoss responds to Barry Silbert's motion to dismiss the Gemini lawsuit, as well as U.S. Bitcoin ETF approval can see North Americans' ETF volume rise to 99.5%. Let's go. We'll also be discussing two catalysts which can catapult the Bitcoin price up by 410%, predicts hedge fund veteran Mark Yusko. I'll be breaking down his outlook, as well as the latest seven-figure price prediction from the one and only Max Keiser. Quoting him here, Bitcoin has already and will continue to outperform everything else so spectacularly by 100x or more that anyone holding fiat, stocks, bonds, gold, all ish coins, property, etc. will be literally impoverished. I'll be breaking down this 100x price prediction. In fact, he even says 300x path from here. Own it or have fun staying poor. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And welcome everyone just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1369. We live right now on YouTube as well as Rumble. Make sure to participate in the live chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And at the end of the show, we'll be reading everyone's comments out loud as we do each and every day. You know what I mean? Now, this is pod number 1369. I'm your host, JV. Today is August 12th, 2023. Let's kick off today's show with our market watch. As you can see here on your screen, we got the Bitcoin price action back in the green, maintaining 29,400. We also have ETH back in the green, trading back above $1,800. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap sits at 1.17 trillion with 18 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance at 48.7% and the Ether dominance at 18.9%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, we got Thor Chain leading the pack, up 14%, trading at $1.25, followed by ApeCoin, up 7%, trading just above $2, followed by Pepe, up 7%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, you can see a sea of green with Rune leading the pack, up almost 15%. We got Ape up 7% and Pepe up 7%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, shows we're currently rated 54, which is neutral. Yesterday was a 51, last week a 50 neutral, and last month a 57 in greed. So there you have it. Welcome to everyone just joining us. Let me know how your stack and Saturday is going thus far, and how many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto. Make some noise in the live chat. And with that being shared, now let's break down today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out what's popping currently on the charts. As we can see here, Bitcoin's further ground down volatility into August 12th as astonishing Bitcoin price action stayed in place, which you can see here in the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. Data from Cointelegraph and TradingView followed a flat Bitcoin trading environment as the weekend began, and after displaying only muted reactions to the week's U.S. macroeconomic data prints, Bitcoin held firm near 29,500, which is a key battleground between the bulls and the bears. And quoting Dan Crypto Trades, expecting just another classic weekend chop around the CME closed price. Let me know if you agree or disagree. That price is roughly 29,465. The lack of movement throughout the week, meanwhile, surprised long-term market participants, including crypto analyst Calvin A. Pop, quoting him here, extremely astonishing PA on Bitcoin lately. I am still favoring the upwards momentum to come, and I think we have bottomed, plus are not getting that heavy correction. If we lose 29,000, however, then I'll be a buyer at 28,200, flip 29,700 equals party time. Well, let's get this party started, shall we? And quoting Martum, he says another massive long position, this time on Deribit. Now, for monitoring resource material indicators, the Binance order book signaled that the range-bound status quo would likely endure. Quoting them here, volatility might start perlocating as the near weekly open close still feels like buy the dip, BTFD, sell the rip conditions. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And analyzing the lack of volatility on the King Crypto, the trading community reason that an equally powerful return to trend should result. Quoting them here, Bitcoin approaching a historic 3-week compression, levels above the 20 moving average, said analyst Tech Dev, and also shared a chart showing the Bitcoin price behavior following similar episodes of the past. These totaling just 4 since Bitcoin's creation. Incredible Crypto responded, historic compression leads to historic expansion. Imagine looking at this chart and thinking, yeah, 10,000 incoming. God candle, send it. He also says a ticking time bomb till bear extinction. So bring it. How many of you are currently bullish on that King crypto? Let me know in the comments right down below. Now let's discuss the latest of what's happening with Mr. Scam Bankman-Fried. He had his bail revoked and actually was sent back to jail, believe it or not, for allegedly tampering with witnesses on multiple occasions. I guess that would be Caroline Ellison. Let's break down this story. We have a lot to cover naturally, and welcome to y'all just joining us here on another fabulous Saturday. Let me know who you are and where you're tuning in from. So yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried back in jail. The federal judge reportedly revoked the former FTX CEO following the release of information of New York Times reporters in an alleged attempt to intimidate witnesses. Can't make this stuff up, folks. According to reports of individuals present at the August 11th hearing in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District in New York, Judge Lewis ordered Bankman-Fried's bail revoked, suggesting he will be held in jail through the end of his 2 trials for fraud related to his activities at FTX. Prosecutors have been pushing for the revocation of Bankman-Fried's $250 million bail, which had kept him out of custody since his arraignment back in December of last year. Now, the judge reportedly said Bankman-Fried's interviews with New York Times reporters resulted in sharing information with the likely intent to hurt and frighten former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison, his former colleague and girlfriend. Bankman-Fried's legal team confirmed he had provided the reporters with some of the published info, which led Kaplan to impose a gag order preventing extrajudicial statements related to the criminal case. And Assistant U.S. Attorney Daniel Sassoon cited Bitcoin-Fried's violations of previous bail conditions, which included a message on the Signal app to FTX U.S. General Counsel Ryan Miller in January using a VPN for his internet activity and releasing information to reporters aimed at intimidating Ellison, trying to silence her ultimately. Quoting them here, "In view of the evidence, my conclusion is that there is probable cause to believe that the defendant has attempted to tamper with witnesses at least twice, as outlined right here." And again, you can get the full details from the show notes below the video in the description on your own accord. And quoting Mark Cohen, he said, "Just because the defendant was more subtle than a mobster doesn't mean it's okay. It's enough for the court to conclude detention is appropriate if he is unlikely to abide by his jail conditions." So at the end of the day, I'd love to know your thoughts on the 12 criminal charges which he is facing, which is scheduled to begin in court in October of 2023, which is right around the corner, and could continue to March of 2024, which is interestingly enough, which would be the time of the Bitcoin halving, which is now less than 9 months away. And how does it make you feel? Do you think this is good that he has been put back in jail after allegedly tampering with witnesses and threatening them? Let me know your honest thoughts. It almost felt like at some point that this guy had a get out of jail free card from Monopoly, and no matter what he did, because of his connections with his parents and Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, that he can get away with anything. So it's good to see that he is paying the consequence for his crimes and doing all the illegal activity, and it seems to be catching up with him. But let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now for the latest regarding Barry Silbert versus the Winklevoss twins and the charges which are going on right now with the lawsuit. Now, the legal drama between Winklevoss twins and digital currency group CEO Barry Silbert is continuing as Winklevoss responds to Silbert's latest move. Silbert and DCG, the parent company of Genesis, filed a motion earlier in the week asking the court to dismiss the lawsuit arising from the debt and crypto exchange Gemini says it's owed to users for their Earn program. How many of you have been affected by the Gemini Earn program? Let me know in the comments. Now, Cameron Winklevoss, who co-founded Gemini with his twin brother Tyler, says that Barry Silbert and DCG's motion is filled with carefully crafted statements that are incredibly revealing. Quoting him here, for example, they claim they've had virtually nothing to do with the Gemini Earn program. This is a direct admission that they did in fact have something to do with the Gemini Earn program, LOL. They also claim that they owned no duty to Gemini to correct the allegedly false misstatements of Genesis. You've got to be kidding me. When a company you own says you wrote a $1.1 billion check check that you know you didn't write. Yes, you have a duty to correct this. Sorry, but this doesn't even pass the giggle test. Gemini Earn enabled customers to loan their crypto assets to institutional borrowers to earn interest, but the Winklevoss twins say that when Genesis became insolvent, it defaulted on $1.2 billion worth of assets that belonged to 232,000 Earn users. Meanwhile, Gemini filed the suit last month claiming that Silbert and DCG fraudulently created financial reports to trick their creditors and maintain the illusion that everything was in order. So there you have it. How do you think this is likely to play out? I think it's sad ultimately for everyone who had their funds in the Gemini Earn program just trying to earn some yield, and now their funds have been ultimately frozen or seized. And I just pray that the investors get their funds back and that Barry Silbert and the Winklevoss twins do the right thing and take some responsibility, especially considering their net worths. And let's not forget that the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is the GBTC product, which is owned by Genesis, that's ultimately the father company, they control over 400,000 Bitcoin, making them the largest holder. And next up is publicly traded company MicroStrategy, which controls roughly 152,000 plus BTC. So very interesting to say the least. Now let's discuss the Bitcoin spot ETF, followed by 150,000 price prediction by an asset manager, followed by the latest predictions from Max Keiser and his $3 million price prediction, as I transcribed his most recent interview that he did, making these multiple seven-figure price predictions. And then we'll dive into our live Q&A. And again, welcome to everyone just joining us. Make sure to say hello in the live chat. So here we have it. North America can see its share of the global trading volume for crypto-related ETFs grow even further if spot Bitcoin ETFs are approved in the U.S., according to Bloomberg analysts. Now, this comes after the U.S. SEC issued a delay letter regarding ARK Invest's app for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which I covered in great detail in yesterday's episode. Just FYI, if you missed it, check it out. In a widely anticipated delay, the SEC is asking for new written comments on the spot Bitcoin app. Some of the issues raised by the commission include the suitability of Bitcoin as an underlying asset of an ETF and the resistance of Bitcoin to price manipulation, amongst other things. Now, the ARK Invest spot ETF proposed by leading asset management firm ARK Invest in conjunction with Swiss-based 21 Shares would give investors indirect exposure to the king crypto. Now, this recent setback has raised questions about the fate of the spot Bitcoin ETF apps of the other asset management companies, including BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, as well as Valkyrie, Wisdom Tree, etc. Now, in the event that the spot Bitcoin ETF apps get green-lighted by the SEC, Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchunas said that the North American region may see its percentage of the crypto ETF trading volume reach 99.5%. Send it. And according to his post on X, North America currently accounts for 97.6% of the total crypto ETF trading volume in the entire world. Quoting him here, if and when spot ETFs come out in the US, this will likely go to 99.5%. And in another post, the Bloomberg analyst disclosed that most of the best performing equity ETFs in 2023 are crypto related, lo and behold. And at the top of the list is WGMI and Valkyrie Bitcoin Miners ETF with a year-to-date return of a whopping 227%. This actively managed fund invests in public companies in the Bitcoin mining industry, including Riot, BitDeer, Cypher Mining, etc. And given the positive performance of these mining firm stocks, it is in no surprise that investment products like WGMI are doing well. Other top performing crypto-related exchange-traded products on the list include VanEck Digital Transformation ETF, a year-to-date return of 182%. Also, the Global X Blockchain ETF, which has returned 168% thus far in 2023. And the Bitwise Crypto Industry Innovators ETF, also up roughly 168% year-to-date. Now, in 2022, also keep in mind Grayscale Investments sued the SEC for rejecting the application to convert its flagship product, GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin ETF. And according to Nathan Gerasi, president of the ETF store, the financial judgment in the lawsuit could prove pivotal in the race for Bitcoin ETF. Quoting him here on the delay of the ARK Invest ETF, it all comes down to the outcome of the Grayscale lawsuit and the SEC's view of question number 4 here, referring to the fourth subject the commission is seeking to comment on. So earlier in March, Grayscale argued against the commission, questioning the logic behind allowing Bitcoin futures ETFs while disapproving similar spot Bitcoin funds, which makes no sense, especially considering they want to pretend like they're doing it to protect investors, as Bitcoin futures ETF is equivalent to gambling and does nothing but damage the investors, just FYI. But But subsequently, the Grayscale legal team submitted a letter in July urging the SEC to approve all 8 applications for a spot Bitcoin ETF. So there you have it. Which ETF app do you feel will likely get approved first? Do you think it will be the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock? And what are your thoughts? Do you think they're all likely to get approved at or around the same time, like a domino effect, which can usher in mass capital? We're talking about a total addressable market of hundreds upon hundreds of trillions of dollars, which will have the green light to pour directly into the king crypto. Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And now let's break down the latest from Mark Yusko and his $150,000 price prediction before jumping into the latest from the one and only high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. So here we have it. Morgan Creek Capital founder Mark Yusko is naming 2 catalysts that can send the price of Bitcoin flying to fresh all-time highs. Let's freaking go. In a new Go News interview, Yusko says Bitcoin will likely surge on the back of its upcoming halving event and the possible approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Quoting Yusko here, I think this halving, a $100,000 Bitcoin will be the fair value. So fair value will create from $55,000 today to by the next halving next April, May, call it June. Let's call it the middle of the summer next year. $100,000 will be fair value, but we won't go to 100,000. We'll get to 100,000 and then we'll have speculation. Now, how much speculation? That depends on the approval and the timing of the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF and where we are in the adoption cycle and how much of that $300 billion is coming in. It depends on the amount of leverage that allows people to increase their buying power. And I think the leverage will be lower this time. And so let's say we blow through that 100,000 and we're at 150,000 per coin. That seems reasonable to me. So somewhere between 100,000 and $150,000 per Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin currently trading at roughly 29,400. A move to Yusko's upper range target suggests a 410% rise for Bitcoin from its current price. Yusko also says that U.S. financial advisors using ETFs control roughly $30 trillion. So an allocation of 1% to Bitcoin would have a huge impact on BTC, as he shares here. It's a $30 trillion market that its advisors use ETFs. Let's say they do 1/10 of 1%, which is 30 billion. That's not that much. That's not going to move the price of a $500 billion asset. It's not a $500 billion asset of free float. Free float is maybe 100 billion, maybe. So 30 billion on $100 billion, price is going to go up. It might not be 1/10 of 1%, but what if everybody did 1%, which isn't even outlandish given it's the best performing asset of the last 3 years, last 5 years, and for the last decade, and since inception 14 years ago. So if I'm an investor or I'm a fiduciary of investors as an IRA, I might have to put some percentage of Bitcoin if everyone else is doing it. So at that point, what if it's 1%? Now we're talking $300 billion on $100 billion of free float. That, my friend, is a big, big move, like huge. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding his prediction? The Bitcoin is likely to rise to 100 to 150,000 at around the time of the next halving, 9 months away. Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. And to watch this video he did, check the show notes as well, and you can find it right there. And now for our main featured story of the day, the latest and greatest from the one and only Max Keiser, the fearless Bitcoin leader himself, predicting Bitcoin likely to rise at least 100x against everything else from here. And like I mentioned earlier, I transcribed his most recent interview he did with Swan because I couldn't find it publicized, and it was that good, and I wanted to share this message from Max Keiser with each and every one of you here in the show. So let's start with some quotes, and then I'll share the latest from the interview as well. So here's Max Keiser quoted saying, "Bitcoin has already and will continue to outperform everything else so spectacularly by 100x or more that anyone holding fiat, stocks, bonds, gold, all coins, property, etc. will literally be impoverished." Now with the Bitcoin price, let's just round up and say we're at roughly 30,000 today. 100x from 30 grand would mean $3 million per coin. Please correct me if I'm wrong. That's doing the math right here in my head. He also recently shared that 300x path from here. Own it or have fun staying poor. Now 300x path, is that roughly a $9 million Bitcoin price? You guys let me know if my math is correct. Now for this transcription of his recent interview, which is talking about the price action right here that he did with Swan. And I just made this post on Twitter. It's already going viral, getting a lot of love and shares. So thank you all for the support. So anyways, here's what Max had to share. With Bitcoin, it's kind of the end of price discovery because everything will be priced in Bitcoin eventually. Facts. Everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. And so for someone like myself, who has been following this for 40 years, the finance markets, technology, Bitcoin is the holy grail. It is the end all. Preach. I would say my compatriot in all of this is Michael Saylor. When you hear Michael Saylor talk, he talks about the aesthetics of Bitcoin, the beauty of Bitcoin, and he speaks about it in a way, I think, that carries the torch from the Max and Stacy from 2011. Shout out to Stacy Herbert. He started buying it, I guess, when it was $10,000 or $12,000 or so in the 2020 era. So we were there from 2011 to 2020. I think he's kind of carried the torch from 2020 in a lot of ways and introduced Bitcoin to massive pools of capital. I am surprised that more companies haven't followed his lead, giving the upbreak in inflation we have had exactly as he predicted it. The melting ice cube, as he called it at that time, is exactly what happened. Facts. Well, I guess we can now say we're in the era where BlackRock and these other major institutions are now looking at Bitcoin. So his work on the institutional level, I guess, is bearing fruit. Now, 3 years later, I see in the Middle East, they are starting to recognize Bitcoin. So that's a huge pool of capital. I think all that oil money will find its way into Bitcoin and be a huge catalyst for higher prices. It is a natural way for the oil industry to diversify their portfolio because Bitcoin is essentially energy, and the energy eventually gets priced in with Bitcoin, and there is a marriage between these two in a big way. So I think that's kind of the answer. I have always been fascinated by price discovery in markets and the architecture of how markets work under the hood, and Bitcoin is such a pristine, perfect money, and I think it is something that humans have been searching for since forever, and now we're seeing it change society on a really fundamental level with the introduction of Bitcoin. So a lot of people are freaking out because of it, because it destroys the status quo, and a lot of people have been waiting for it to come along, have had the faith that humanity can be saved. They see Bitcoin in those terms, so you have this split going on, which is very exciting. It just continues on and on. How could you not be interested in it? I think the people who were into it earlier and walked away just never got it from the beginning. Example, Roger Ver. Now, once it's categorized as an asset class, we have nothing to do except position ourselves in this asset class. Facts. Either we are going to have a small position or a big position, but we cannot ignore it. We cannot not have a position. Now listen very closely here. So even 1% of that multi-$100 trillion funds available moves the needle on Bitcoin, and it moves it up considerably. So if we get into the 5 to 10% range, then you start to really see it raise ahead of the 7-figure type predictions that people have been making, including myself, because it is an asset class. But on the flip side, we have what we saw in the gold market, which is the ability to control price discovery and manipulate prices, and it's real through the derivatives market. So the price of gold has been lagging inflation for 20 freaking years because the governments around the world don't like gold making their fiat money look bad. Facts. So they make it easy for the huge funds to manipulate the price of gold and to scalp it to continuously skim profits off of gold, which is what they do almost every day. You can watch it and see it. It's pretty clear. And they are very good at keeping the price of gold and silver down. There's something like for every ounce of silver, there's probably 50 ounces worth of derivatives floating in various exchanges around the world that are used to keep the price of silver down because governments don't want gold to race ahead to draw capital out of their fiat money scam into gold. Now, with Bitcoin, we have the ability to pull our private keys, which is not really available with gold. Technically, people can take delivery of gold on these exchanges, but there has never been an organized attempt to do so. We tried to do it for years ago, or we did try to do it years ago with the crash JP Morgan, buy gold and silver, because after the 2008 financial crisis, when JP Morgan ended up buying Bear Stearns effectively for nothing, they inherited this multi-million short position on silver that Bear Stearns was managing, and at the behest of presumably the government. The government likes to stay involved. And so I did some calculations, and it became clear that if this short position was not covered and the price of silver got to 60 or 70 bucks an ounce, it would bankrupt JP Morgan. So we started this crash JP Morgan buy silver campaign, and we got the price of silver from $15 up to 50 bucks. So we got it up like the old Hunt Brothers $50 level. And then the Fed, of course, came in and they changed the laws overnight to make it possible for these banks to have and carry much greater short positions in silver. So they printed up a lot of paper, silver, derivatives, and they stopped the run on their bank, and the price went back down to $15 or so. So we have seen that it is possible to force capitulation in the silver market. But at the end of the day, because the ability to pull private keys is not like it is with Bitcoin, I don't think it will ever succeed. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can pull your private keys. Very powerful words coming from Max Keiser, and there you have it, predicting a multiple 7-figure price action As outlined here and bolded, if we got 5 to 10% of these sovereign funds in the total addressable market, aka like the ETFs, etc., putting their funds into Bitcoin, we can see a multiple 7-figure Bitcoin price. Let me know if you feel that's likely to turn into fruition. And let me end it with another Max Keiser quote. Bitcoin is an absolutely scarce mathematical commodity that interacts with humans' global unconscious. Preach. So there you have it, coming directly from the high priest of Max Keiser. What are your thoughts surrounding his 100x price prediction as Bitcoin continues to go up, as the purchasing power of the dollar is guaranteed to go down? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's check our live chat. I'm going to start with YouTube and then we'll go over to Rumble. Again, this is being streamed simultaneously live in both places. As you all know, on July 31st, I got deplatformed from YouTube after 6 years of dedication, creating daily content, but they gave me my channel back the other day, but I'm going to continue to stream live on Rumble. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to join the Rumble account by simply following me by clicking the link in the description below. Just in case I were to ever get deplatformed again in the future, at least we'll have a backup. Shout out to Bitcoin Maximus, Rave Elevator, Barry over there in Holland. Good to see you, McLovin. Johnny Rico, what's good? New Age Templar, what's up? Matthew J, good to see you, fam. Michael Otto, what's poppin'? Good to see you. Good to see ya. And I'm going to start rattling out some comments out loud. We do this show every day, and we always do live Q&A. Good evening from the UK, says Baz Dragon. Good evening, and shout out to all my brothers and sisters in the UK. I'm catching you live for the first time since you got your channel back, JV. So congrats, and let's freaking go. Greatly appreciate your continued support. Kevin says, what took them to mine 20 million coins in 10 plus years, but to mine the remain will take them 100 years. That's right. Is it something like the last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that one before as well. Good to see you, Build Pro. Appreciate your support, fam. Tim's Crypto, welcome. DCA Bitcoin No Alts, tuning in from Clearwater, Florida. Good afternoon, JV, and the Crypto News Alerts fam. Massive shout out to all my fam in Florida. Much love, much respect. As you know, that Clearwater is my old stomping grounds before relocating to Puerto Rico. Good to see you back, says Top One. See, you're giving YouTube a chance still. Best of luck. That's right. We're streaming simultaneous because I took the time to build the audience of 56,000 people, so I don't want to throw that out. We're going to keep building it regardless of what platform we are on. Garrett Miller, welcome. Appreciate it. Smash that like. Thanks for the reminder, Matthew, as I appreciate all the support. Jay VZ, what's up? Get the latest news, my man. Thank you, Tommy Walton. Appreciate your continued support. Mr. Still Stacking, what's good all? Appreciate you tuning in. As always, Johnny Rico says, seems like yesterday it was 7. Word up. Johnny Rico. Yeah. And how many of you are actually involved with precious metals? Do let me know. I'm curious, like gold or silver. How many of you are investors in that? Desert greetings from California, coming from Johnny Midas. Thank you, Johnny. DCA Bitcoin No Alts, bullish Bitcoin, let's go. Would love to see a 10G candle viewing it on YouTube. I would too. We refer to that as the God candle. Send it and let's go. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. Just hoping I can stack at these levels for a couple of more months, says Matthew. I think January we go over 40,000. I think we're likely to hit 40,000 before that. We shall soon see. July has officially been the hottest month in the last 100 years, says Garrett Miller. Does seem to be that way, getting hotter and hotter. Don't believe the hype. Thanks for the reminder, Johnny. Sub JV, always enjoy the show. Good to see you're back. Thank you, Golden Giant 58. I appreciate the support. As always, I don't loan out my Bitcoin. If you do loans, loan it in fiat. Sage advice coming from Matthew. Protect that Bitcoin. Give it to no one. Give it, including BlackRock. Do not hand over your Bitcoin or your private keys. Now, Satwise, good to see you as well. Good day, fam. Always a pleasure. Random thought, JV, do you think that YouTube did that because you had your QR code up and were accepting payments outside the Google network? No, I honestly think it has nothing to do with that, because if it was, they could have just said, that's the problem, and gave me a strike on a video and gave me the opportunity to remove it. That's not the issue whatsoever, in my humble opinion. Hence why I got my channel back, and they already apologized publicly and said, after carefully reviewing your channel, you're not doing anything against our terms and policies. So I already have the green light that I'm not doing anything wrong on YouTube, just FYI. Nate says a spot ETF would make or break Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to do what it's meant to do, regardless of the price. I'm going to continue reading comments comments on YouTube, so keep commenting. Feel free to ask me anything, but let me head on over to Rumble and read some comments out loud there. Mikey Lixit, what's good, fam? We have Dankness over there. I know some of you are tuning in on Rumble as well as on YouTube simultaneously at the same time. That's what's up. Good to see you, MV1243. Appreciate the support from Arizona. Says the signal is loud and clear. Much love and much respect. It does seem, since I got the channel back on YouTube, that many of you are preferring to watch on YouTube. I think the interaction in the chat is just a lot smoother, more in real time. Whereas with Rumble, for some reason, if you're too active in the chat, it tells you to like wait. You're too active, which is kind of odd, but it is what it is. Yeah, 100,000 next summer, someone asked. Come on, it's very doable. 100,000 this year is still doable. Just want to throw it out there. Baz says, yes, BlackRock first, hopefully swiftly followed by a few others in early 2024. We shall soon see. Nate says, Matthew, I agree. It will bring in more demand, but if we don't get the ETF, it won't be the end of Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't need institutions to get as far as it has. That's right. Bitcoin doesn't need the institutions. That's a fact. The institutions need Bitcoin. Bitcoin will continue to do its own thing because it's on its own vector at the end of the day. It will be the last change for the cheap stats. Big thanks for the SEC, says Billy Bitcoin. Word up. Nuke that like button, HODL fam. That's right. We got over 200 people live just on YouTube right now, probably close to 100 people on Rumble. Greatly appreciate everyone's live support. Nuke that like button. Much appreciated. Of course, comments go a long way as well. Petrolhead says, smash the like button, guys. Great to have you back, JV. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend to you as well. I will be back on Sunday. If we focus on network strength and not price, Bitcoin is better than ever. Today is stronger than it was yesterday, and tomorrow it will be stronger than it was today. It's in the code. Preach, Nate. Appreciate those words. Wonder if Klaus and Greta had some or have some. That's a good question. You never know what to expect with the forces of evil. Max will help from Bukele, save the whole country. El Salvador facts. That's right. Massive shout out to President Bukele, El Salvador, and Max and Stacy, Saifedean and Amos, and all of them doing their thing out there in El Salvador. 9 million is correct. Word up. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling hella protected by the SEC. I know that's some satire right there. Glad to catch the show live, says Harbinger X14. Appreciate that. Much love, much respect. Can't wait to see how Volcano Energy does in a few years. Hoping for the best. Same here. I think they're going to accomplish all their goals because of the masterminds behind it, including Max Keiser. El Salvador will set up development of Bitcoin with Max and Stacy, says the New Age Templar. They will develop products for Bitcoin's stable future. Facts. DCA and hang in with the Crypto News Alerts fam and spread the orange pill gospel. You got it. Nailed it. Michael Odo, who is disagreeing with Max Keiser? Yeah, good question. Super moon rocket possible? 100% McLovin, you already know it. More chance than Elon's rockets? 100%. We know all of Elon's rockets that get launched into space come back down. That, my friend, is a fact. They're incapable of sending a rocket anywhere permanently. Just note that. It's a large deception going on there, but I'm going to be quiet because I am on YouTube. Cars with independent AI will pair their loan and give rides for Bitcoin. Self-driving 24-hour LLC AI businesses. The future is insane. Isn't that nuts to even think about? Dutch Bitcoiners in the building. Shout out to Barry. McLovin, I truly believe January ETF, ARK and 21 shares, final decision date, January 10th. I think we get all 8 at once talking about the spot ETFs. Let's go. Plus government printing. I am 2024 and having. Gonna be epic. Can't wait. One does not disagree with Max Keiser, who recommended Bitcoin at $1. DApps, 100%. You got to show Max and Stacy credit where credit is due. They were the first ones to internationally mention Bitcoin on television via the Keiser Report. But unfortunately, YouTube scrubbed the Keiser Report of all 1,800 episodes because they didn't agree with what was being shared by them. So, I mean, it is what it is. As the censorship continues, AI robots will work for Bitcoin and independently pay for their electricity. Our construction jobs are over. And that's right. And the AI will be able to hold their own keys for Bitcoin. So maybe the AI will take over and trying to stack sats. So get to it. Holy cow, the perfect crypto storm is coming real yeah, 100% McLovin. This guy delivers his speech very well. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the support. Does X stream well? Honestly, yes and no. No, there's a lot of caveats that aren't so good. I don't want to get into so much, but For a streaming platform, YouTube and Rumble is superior based on my experience of streaming live on X for about a week. But I think it's only going to be improved with Elon, especially considering, the big UFC fight they're talking about with Zuckerberg versus Elon. Elon claims it's going to be streamed on X, so they got to make a lot of the improvements and make the interaction better for the commenting as well. As I noticed with the live streaming, there's no commenting action or option unless I'm missing something. If someone knows something I don't know, please enlighten me and please do let me know. But I do think X has a lot of improvements to make, and I think Elon is going to, be fit for that task and make it a better streaming platform to compete with Rumble and YouTube. But at the current moment, a little sketchy, but nonetheless, we'll continue sharing on X, but I will continue streaming here on YouTube and on Rumble. Good point, JV. We knew you weren't doing anything wrong. Just wanted to believe it wasn't more fiat attacks against Bitcoin coming from YouTube, but glad you are back either way. Thank you. Appreciate that. Much love. NFT Schiller says Trump 2024. Now I'm actually curious, how many of you are going to be voting in 2024? Those of you at least living in the United States, which presidential candidate are you leaning towards? Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Biden, DeSantis, Kennedy Jr., Vivek? Let me know your thoughts. As you know, I think 3 of those candidates are pro-Bitcoin and anti-CBDC, which include Kennedy Jr., DeSantis, as well as Vivek. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's from what I understand right now. Definitely living in the Matrix, JV, censored for keeping it real every day. Word up, Petrolhead 2020. It does seem to be that way. It felt more like a Matrix attack, more so than anything else. And I genuinely believe if it wasn't for the uproar from you guys in the community, that they would have just terminated me forever and I would have never been reinstated back here on YouTube. But because you guys started tagging them and making an uproar and calling them out for their shenanigans, questioning what they did, they had to correct their wrong decision. Because also you have to keep in mind, they initially revealed my appeal within hours, and that's really the only thing you have when you get your account terminated. You have an appeal, they're supposed to review the appeal. They reviewed the appeal and they said, it looks like we made the right decision. You were terminated because you violated our policies of the dangerous and harmful content, yada, yada, yada. I was calling them out on it. Doing everything in my power every day to tag them and let them know what a big mistake they made. And a lot of people who follow the show were doing the same thing. So my guess is YouTube and Team YouTube support probably got sick and tired of me tagging them, as well as hundreds and thousands of other individuals saying, what in the world are you doing, YouTube? So they had to do something about it and fix it. That's the power we have when we are united. You know what I mean? So much respect to each and every one of you, because if it wasn't for you, more than likely I would have never got that YouTube channel back, and I truly believe that. You know what I mean? The Bill of Rights, Constitution for President 2024, no fiat, head of leadership. Agreed. I think the head of leadership needs to be anti-CBDC to protect humanity from the CBDC enslavement, and also they need to be pro-Bitcoin because that puts an end to all the corruption from the fiat monetary system and the matrix. Anyone purporting and supporting CBDCs and anti-Bitcoin, obviously they're showing you what side they're on. That includes Biden and Trump, just FYI, so you have to keep that in mind. D Gun, what's up from Georgia? Appreciate you tuning in. Bitcoin is the best hedge ever, says McLovin. Facts. Jose de Jesus Rodriguez, holding and bullish. Love to hear that. Hold on for dear life, right? I sold most of my gold and silver for Bitcoin. I have a very small amount, less than 1% of my net worth, says Matthew. I think you made the right move, obviously. Mr. Still Stacking, not a bad move at all. Matthew, wish I would have moved more of mine a lot earlier. I sold most everything at the bottom last year. Sold my life insurance policy for Bitcoin. Yes, I am that crazy. Well, welcome to the club. Prudent moves, Matt. I'm getting a lot of kudos here. Awesome Rave Elevator. I sold at the top also, but wasn't very big. I felt reckless as McLovin when I first went 100% Bitcoin, but I don't anymore. Might be the best financial decision I have ever made. Kudos to you. Satwise says RFK is the only one who said he would remove taxes on Bitcoin. I'm glad you brought that up. He also mentioned that he would want to back the US dollar by Bitcoin, which is a very interesting concept, which has gotten a lot of controversy as well. Go Kennedy Jr. says DCA, Bitcoin no alts. Tim's Crypto says RFK Jr. So it seems that RFK Jr. got the love of the Bitcoin community. He made a smart move by speaking at the largest Bitcoin conference in Miami earlier in the year as a keynote speaker. Ilya says Trump. Word up. Vivek 2024 says Breton. And please confirm, Vivek is pro-Bitcoin and anti-CBDC. Is that correct? Please let me know. I quit voting a while ago, but thinking about it, says Johnny. Word. Life says Bitcoin, XRP, and ETH and Solana Cardano going into the bull run 2024. Matthew says I vote by turning fiat into Bitcoin. Word up. I'm also all in on Bitcoin as it feels empowering, like freedom. I need it. I need something. I can sell $60,000 a year without IRS taxes and live humbly. Word up. Isn't Trump anti-Bitcoin? Facts. You got to keep that in mind. That is 100% correct. He doesn't believe in cryptocurrencies because it undermines the strength of the US dollar. That's in Trump's own words. I heard him say that in an interview. But of course, the president of the United States represents the central banking cartel and that money printer, which continue to go brr. So you have to keep that in mind, fam, regardless of what they say. You know what I mean? Same as you, Matt. I have a very small amount of gold and silver left, 99% into Bitcoin. What a great allocation, Maximus. Love to hear that. Is it true that Polygon 2.0 will have infinite supply? I haven't heard that personally, Jacob, but nothing surprises me with altcoins because they're not truly decentralized. So you never know. And for those of you not familiar with Polygon Matic, it is a layer 2 scaling solution for the Ethereum network, as the Ethereum gas fees are still outrageous. McLovin says, love that you don't use swear words. It adds credibility to your channel and makes it family friendly. We need to attract as many people to Bitcoin as possible. I appreciate that feedback. That is correct. I haven't used adult language in my show on YouTube. Maybe once or twice when I had the late, great John McAfee. I interviewed him on the show. I think I smoked a blunt and said some adult words. But for the most part, this is a family friendly show. So when I was attacked by YouTube for allegedly violating their harmful and dangerous policy, it was like spitting in my face. I'm like, I didn't even say adult words. Meanwhile, you go to YouTube, even not signed in, and look at the recommended videos they want you to watch. Many of them are dangerous and violent content, which is shocking. They're pushing that amongst the people. But meanwhile, you have a very family-friendly crypto show that does nothing but preach the holy gospel of Satoshi, and you want to deem this dangerous and harmful? That's why I knew it was a matrix attack, fam. So you make a great point. Put your crypto in a trust fund, then leverage against it, says New Age Templar. Bitcoin will disrupt many governments. It's already doing so. Ultimately, when Bukele said F you to the IMF by making Bitcoin a legal tender, saying we don't need your dirty fiat corruption. Tim's Crypto says Trump did say that exact statement. Yeah, I know. I've heard him say it. Ilya says Trump may not be taken on Bitcoin, but he is certainly not anti-Bitcoin at all. You guys are totally wrong. No, I'm 100% confident Trump is anti-Bitcoin. He says he is against it specifically because it undermines the value of the US dollar. Do some homework there. I'm not making this stuff up. Orange Man plus Orange Coin will happen. Steve Bannon, Melania, Jared Kushner, all love Bitcoin. Word up. Mr. Still Stack and I vote, but don't really trust the powers that be to carry on fair elections. RFK is looking good, but I remain skeptical of the process. Word. You know what I mean? Trust nobody, verify everything. That's the saying, how the saying goes here on Bitcoin. Matthew says, we're all legends. Just keep stacking, my brother. You got that right. Everyone here is legendary in their own way. And also keep in mind how early we are to the Bitcoin adoption party. The market cap is still like, under $600 billion. That's nothing. The market cap of Bitcoin in the next decade is probably going to be 30 trillion, potentially a lot higher, with a multiple 7-figure Bitcoin price. So count your blessings and thank God for Bitcoin. With that being shared, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis. We also covered the latest with Sam Bankman-Fried being jailed as the judge revokes his bail. We also discussed the latest with "You've got to be kidding me," says Cameron Winklevoss, responding to Barry Silbert's motion to dismiss the Gemini lawsuit. We also discussed that the U.S. Bitcoin ETF approval can see North Americans' ETF volume rise to 99.5%. Talk about a monopoly, right? Also, we discussed 2 catalysts which will catapult the Bitcoin price by up to 410%, sending the Bitcoin price action to $150,000, predicts hedge fund veteran Mark Yusko. I shared his outlook. And we also discussed the prediction by Max Keiser that Bitcoin will continue to outperform everything else so spectacularly by 100x or more, which will send the Bitcoin price to $3 million and above. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you